If you passed the Center for Addiction and Mental Health on Queen Street West this week, you might have noticed a tent set up on the grounds of CAMH. The tent is, in fact, the stage for a new play. It's called The Book of Judith. The story really began 4 years ago when the Toronto playwright Michael Rubenfeld was asked if he could help find a lover for quadriplegic Judith Snow, a leading advocate for people with disabilities. Instead, he made her a play. To tell us more, I'm joined in studio by Michael Rubenfeld and Judith Snow. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Michael, tell us about the request and what your reaction was when you heard what Judith was asking for.
Well, my best friend asked me if I knew of anyone who would be interested in being her lover, and so my first response was no. I couldn't think of anyone, and I thought the question was phenomenally challenging. And because I'm a theater artist, my next thought was, well, there should be a play because I can't answer this question.
Judith, what did you make of Michael's response to that? That this actually is a larger question that should be debated not in the bedroom, but on a stage?
Well, at first it was annoying, but I really got into the idea of doing a play, because as it turns out, it's a really awesome way to get across the issues of what actually gets between people, where the idea of disability is there.
What is the play about, Michael?
The play is about trying to make a piece of theater with Judith and subsequently failing and the reasons why. But it's also a journey through my own prejudice and my own ignorance in relationship to people with disability.
What does that prejudice look like? What does that ignorance look like? I mean, what are the beliefs that perhaps you held?
Well, certainly when my relationship to people in wheelchairs was pretty was universal in that I would feel bad for someone in a wheelchair, or I would thank God that it's not me in that chair. And I think a lot of fear and just not understanding, not seeing myself in their situation, and as a result not being able to relate or love them, really.
Are you surprised that you would hold those kind of beliefs? I mean, we often think it's 2009, we're enlightened. These aren't beliefs that we actually would hold.
Well, no, because I think it's hard to wrap our head around the idea of ourselves being disabled or living with disability. The idea of going from living in a walking world to living in a wheelchair or not being able to move is something that I have a really difficult time comprehending. I think that's why it's not surprising, because I don't think we really want to see ourselves in those situations.
Judith, you spent much of your life talking about these sort of issues. How common are those prejudices? Again, society often believe that we don't hold those beliefs.
They're as common as water.
As common as water.
Yeah. I think all of us are stuck in it. It's not just that we think a person is disabled, like me, but we have that concept of disability. It affects everybody, whether you actually are labeled yet or not. So you don't see it because it's like water to a fish.
So how do you make people... We were talking earlier about kids and racism and talking to kids about racism and exposing kids to different people. And that's the way that kids understand that people are just different, but that doesn't mean that they're better or worse. How do you get people to move beyond those preconceptions?
Well, what you just said is a really good way to start with, and that is keep the kids together. See, commonly we segregate kids in school by ability, and so they don't get to know each other. And so that's really important. But another way is really to, well, let me put it this way. I used to do a lot of speeches to people who provide services, and it felt like I was getting absolutely nowhere. But more recently, we've been doing, like this play, or in Georgia, I was doing some stuff with people who do rap and so on, and kind of taking it from a different angle has really proved to be much more effective.
There are disabled people in this play, Michael. How important is that to have people within the production who can speak from the heart, if I can use that phrase, about the issue that this play is about?
Well, I mean, ironically, they don't have much to say in the play itself. The play is myself on stage speaking as a person without disability. But having them be in the play almost as advocates or as supporters of the play is pretty important, because I think as an audience member, a lot of what I'm saying on stage is pretty controversial.
Yeah.
It's riding a line, it's riding an edge.
And it makes people uncomfortable.
It makes people absolutely uncomfortable, but having people on stage helps people enter into the play, I think, with a bit more ease, to know that there are people with disability on stage who know the play, so there's a certain trust that's set up.
Is that sense of or that idea of making people uncomfortable, is that key to them getting out of that prejudice that they might hold? You kind of shock them with it, and then you say, listen, this isn't really how you have to believe, this isn't really how you have to act.
Oh, yeah, because I think that's what gets in the way of everything that we don't understand. It's our discomfort with our own ignorance. And I think that if we can allow people to sit in discomfort and being uncomfortable, then move beyond it towards ease and comfortability, then we can actually start to have a dialogue.
You've said, Judith, that there is no such thing as a disability, just kind of different abilities. How can a play like this help people understand that sort of idea?
Well, you mentioned the choir. It's had a huge effect doing this play on the people in the choir. I've had several people come up to me and say, like one woman who used to be an actress, and she got a situation like MS, and she quit. And in this play, she's realized that she doesn't have to quit. She could still be an actor. And I've had so many people come up. So just doing the play has had a huge effect on us. And then the audience, well, they laugh, they cry, they get frightened, they yell at Michael, some of them, they come up and hug us later, It gets to a visceral level, which is where it has to get, I think. So it's really powerful.
Thank you both for coming in.
You're welcome.
Thanks very much.
Michael Rubenfeld is a Toronto playwright. His new production, The Book of Judith, runs on the grounds of CAMH at 1001 Queen Street West through this Sunday. Judith Snow is the inspiration, in part, for The Book of Judith. For more information, you can check out the website. There's a blog that's been running. Fascinating. Includes video and some writings by Michael and other people about the play as it progresses. It's Book of Judith Play. That's all one word. bookofjudithplay.blogspot.com.